Oh my god, I forgot to turn on the microphone again. Hello! Hello Chris, hello Vanya, hello Irving! Fish! It's fish day! It's fish time! Welcome! As you have probably noticed, I wasn't really planning on streaming today. I was like, I'm probably just gonna, you know, take it easy. But, I've been sitting here with like no plans, and I figured, you know what, I gotta do something with myself. And then I opened Steam, and Steam is like, hey, this game you had on your wishlist is on sale. And I'm like, what game? I click on it, and it's Fish Sipper, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that exists. And it looks really cool. It's just what I needed. Just what I needed on this exact day. So, hey, we're playing a fish game. You figured, you know what? I'm gonna play a game, because otherwise I'm just gonna start spiraling. I was also like considering maybe saving this game for another day, but you know what? I don't know. I already like set myself up for this, so my brain is ready for fish. It's gonna be. It probably won't be a very long stream. I'm guessing like 2 hours, because I don't really have that much energy. I just wanted to really, you know, to get my fish thoughts out and then go rest or something. But you have to try the fish game, because it's now that I've seen it, it's on my mind, and yeah, there's no way I can just let it go. We gotta play the fish. Yeah. Fish. If you don't like fish, then what are you doing here? I typed it wrong. I typed it wrong. I typed Fip Susher. The fuck is wrong with me? Oh god. Fip Susher. Guys ready for Fip Susher? Jesus Christ. It's a fish. Ah. Where are you, game? There you go. Fish. Grzegorz Brzęczykiewicz says hello. Wow. Wow. You can hear the game, you can see the game. Game? Oh, there we go. What the fuck? Why is it on the side like that? Come on! Fit to the screen! There we go. You know him? You're Polish? I'm Polish. Welcome. Yay! Surprise! Oh god. What do we have here? Graphic. What the fuck is that resolution? Excuse me. We don't need that many. We don't need any of this. Did it even— wait, does it set automatically? Ooh. What kind of Polish are you? I don't know. I don't know, they never told me. Because I have a Polish friend in my group showed us a meme, and now we call him in that way. Oh my goodness. Well, that's what he gets, I guess. Camera bobbing, probably gonna turn that off. Well. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, the freaking sensitivity here. I haven't even seen the sharp things. Oh, yeah, camera bobbing? Get that shit away. I don't know, I like sliding around, you know, like these. What? Click near the end of the dock to walk to the edge and sit down. What? I didn't click, I just. The fuck? No, you don't really need to click. Ah! I'm sorry. That was stronger than me. It's the animal instincts. Camera smoothing? What the fuck? None of this. Okay, maybe a little bit, because that was weird. Yes, please. We need it raw. Like any normal person. Oh my god. Well, click the sip release to regain your breath. You can move the straw with W. Ooh. Wow, I can mix up the water. Today we'll be presenting a game about fish and ancient ancestors. Yes. Ah, I see. I see how it is. We're gonna get some water. I am a monster that's always... I'm a big thirsty monster that always needs to get a sip. Is there a fish in this? Is there a fish in this puddle or not? No, there's just a... There's just a chest. They won't let me have a snack. You sipped up all the water in this area. Damn. What now? You collected. Why is there a dash in here? Key. That's all? That's all? That's all I get? A key? Not even any food? He plays in a football team and we put the name... Brzęczyk gave it on his shirt. The guy who made the shirt in the tournament speaker hate art. Oh god. How do I get there? Rocks have fallen on my head. I want to get over there. Can I like find a path somewhere? You guys ever see a fish game? You know what I'm like that I'm probably looking at already. Oh my god. I'm inside of a bush. What? What is this, peak? Why is there a rope over here? Now why can't I get up? Will the tree consume me if I stay in it too long? What would that affect? I'm just looking for reasons, you know? And I don't see any so far. How do I get over there? Maybe I'm more complicating this ascent. Let me up. What I want is chest. Give me the chest. What the heck? The people who live around this lake be like, who the fuck is this weirdo? What the heck are they doing? I don't think we want them in here. Oh my god, what's up? It feels like I have like freaking weights on my freaking ankles because I keep sliding on everything. Get up there! Get up there. This way. Bitch, I got here. Goopy carving? Split dog? That's not a fish though. What the heck? Why does it say I have one fish? That's not nowhere close to being a fish. What is this? Oh my god, give me a game. I won't even play the game. I will just like run around doing stupid things. Why is there a triangle in here? Why is there a cone? There's a cone in here. Oh my god. What the fuck? What's the thing in my bucket? Oh my god, I have a wooden fish! Turn dog. Split block. Why do you have random... Oh my god. Do everyone in this town just ship water? Out of this? Hello? Why are you flat? Fish journal. Ooh. My wife left out at least we fish. What? What? What does that say? My wife left, but at least I have fish. I think. Nobody knows for sure where these carvings come from, but I have heard some rumors. Oh, that's what I... Okay. Interesting. Well. Maybe I don't want to sell it. Maybe I want to keep it, but I guess I can't. Oh my god, look, his freaking mustache is the shape of a fish! Oh, oh my god, and his buckles are also in shape of a fish? Sorry for that sound, but like, I don't know, I'm just... Ah! He moves around! What's it saying? Oh, what? Sipping. It's increased sipping power. Rare bait. Jumbo bait. What's this? What is this, sir? A bounce pad you can place wherever you want. A speed boost pad you can place wherever you want. Ooh. Stock. If you run out of water, you can buy a dock pack to build down to the water. You can click this button to refill the water back to your dock. If you have a branching dock, the water will only refill to the lowest part of your dock. You should only use this button if you're stuck. Stuck. What does it say? 1 meter. 1 meter. Oh my goodness, guys, this game has cards. Oh. Last time I took my pet Slippy to the lake, he got lost and hasn't come back. If you see him out there, please bring him home. What if I accidentally swallow him? What will I do? Oh my god, look. Are there things in the forest? You give me a game about fishing. Oh my god, a dog! Guys, we found a dog! Someone clean up his eyes. Why is there a dog in the forest? I want to take the dog with me. But yeah, I get so excited about the fish game and now I'm just running around instead of, you know, playing the fish game. Fishing the fish. Out of the fish. Can I drown? Can I drown in this game? No, but apparently I can swim. I like my character. Okay, I'll stop messing around. Let's go get a sip. Wait, there's a chest on the top of this. I saw you. Cannot run away from me. Goopy carving, turn dog, split dog. Hey, just another dog. In here I thought I might get something fun. Sip. Fish, come. consumed a fish. Something. Why do you have to spit them out? You have to spit them out. Ah, your first little guppy, eh? I'll bite it off ya and keep it safe in the back. What's this? Come to me, fishy. Quickly! My breaths! They're too shallow! The fish around me are confused! There we go. Got one of them. One of the fish. There's another one. Come on. You wanted to run away, you wanted to disappear. Into nothingness, but no, not on my watch, sir. Shh. I only have 2 fish in my bucket? How does that work? Also, how do you still drink with a fish in your mouth? How does that work? Oh, I can't catch it. Go away. But hey, I have more fish. Can I get a bigger? I get lungs. Increase stamina, increase hinge efficiency, increase bucket capacity, sipping power. Let's get this, and get this, and get lungs. I don't know what the fuck the door is, so I'm fine. My sipping powers have grown. Come to me. No! Oh, now we have a big sip. There we go. Fish consumed. Got another one. Hey, come on, come on, come on. That's a big one! Guys, we gotta get the big one! What? Uh-oh, that's too many fish. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Oh, plum. There we go. I told my sister about this game. That's a jumbo, might be a bit harder for me to take care of it, but I'll give you a double. Ooh. Ooh. I told my sister I got this game and she was like, you know, I gave her a little rundown. I was like, you know, in this game you just drink up a lake and you catch fish that way, and she was like, what the fuck? And honestly, I cannot blame her. No, the water! What would the man do once I drink all of the water from the lake? I played it on a cooking simulator and it was one of my favorite games the year. Whoa. Egg cooking simulator? What is that? I like that you can still drink through the sand. The water is too far! A bit lower to reach it. Just one fish. Arctic eggs. Noise. Split. I don't want to why can't I have a freaking straight one? Hello? Can we get a boost pack? A pack of dog pieces to expand your dock. Ooh. Ooh. Boys. Eve, hello! I really thought you were cool, but now I know you're Polish and you're cool. Thank you. Hello, Eve. We're playing a fish game. Ooh, a down. Send them to the depths. Gonna build more. Any... What? Of what? What are you saying? Ooh. Wait. Freaking rock? Hey. Just like such a waste. Undo! 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 We go. Oh yeah, maybe I could have. Maybe I should have done a split here. Oh well. I'll worry about it later. Lieutenant, oh, I need to take my last brain cell to make me sleep. Oh, and that might be difficult. What's this? Close. What? It does look like a freaking mobile thing. We don't want mobile games. We want to drink a fish. Don't think about it too much. Just accept it. You drink fish, and that's how you roll. I still don't know why there are freaking cones in the water, but come on, fish. I know you're here. I know you're hiding. Oh, there you are. Come on. Oh no! I drank too many fish! No! Today's daily object. A fish hammer? Something that looks like fish. Listen, I don't mind a game if it was... I mean, I don't mind if a game was meant to be a mobile game as long as it doesn't have microtransactions. Sipping lungs, no, I'm bigger bucket. Bucket. And we might get another dog pack. Just, you know. Just, you know. For the sake of it. I want to steal you to play gone fishing with me. I want to play gone fishing. I promised Sonny I would play with her. What does fish hammer do? What's special about the fish hammer? What is this? No, I got a shoe! I'm drinking a shoe! Guys, I've got a problem. I'm drinking up a shoe. What is this? One's green. It's trying to run away! No, you can't run away! No! Shit! This fish is too strong! I don't think I'll be able to get it. Yeah, fine. Whatever. Oh man, it looks like a fish. What do you want to use it? This is garbage, but I guess the fish keeps it like clean. Oh, I got stuff in it for garbage? Guys, I want to show you something. Look, 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 look. There's a dog in here. There's a dog. I found a dog in the forest. Forest of my dreams. I don't know, why would I need the split? To be honest, I don't see the reason. Are we dodging a dog? What does that mean? Come back to me. I want to grab you. I know you don't want me to grab you, but I want to grab you. This is not an option. Shit, run away. Throw. Wait, are you with a friend? Come back here. Come back here. Come back here. Come back here. Are you the one I'm looking for? Oh my god, why are you so... Why are you moving around? Come back! So, our cool... Oh! Our cool shop guy. Shit. Come back here. He lost his fish friend. And we are trying to get him back. But, oh my god. My lungs are too weak for this shish. For this shish! There! I need better lungs. I need better lungs. Oh wait, no, I need a better sip. Not good. What if I found lungs in the forest? That's not lungs, but I appreciate it. Kitty! What? I cannot get to them! They're just behind my reach! Oh my god, the coolest catfish! Bro, what the fuck? Can't become friends with the catfish. What's the point? What's the point of anything? What is this? Oh, a wooden. Okay, a wooden fish. Sure, why not? Come to me! Come to me! I want to sip you up! That sounds so wrong. I think our fish just exploded. I don't know what that sound was, I'm scared. Damn it. I have fish. And I want better sip. Cause there's some cool fish over there. And I cannot get them. I cannot get them! Where are they now? Come to me. You, not you! I already have enough of you! No. Nah. Nah. Where are the green ones? Where are the green ones? Where are the green ones when I'm looking for them? What? Come to me. You can't just do that. Oh, big fish. Not this time. I got you. No. Wait, I'm being really like freaking. The focus is strong. Shit. I'm too bad at this. I need to become better at fishing with my mouth. I like how they bounce when you jump. Hey, listen, I have a cool one. Puppies change color as they get older, so swimming a whole lot deeper too. Oh. What does it mean? Increase sipping reach. Look at this. And we're gonna get 2 dog packs, I think. Wow. Can you get like ultra rare dog packs? What would that even be? Oh! Oh. That's what the freaking... That's what this was about. I can zip. I can zip up the fish. Or whatever. Oh, you are here. Come to me. Go to Papa. Fuck. Come back! Come back! No! God damn it! You're back. You like me? We need to stagger this fish, guys. Oh my goodness, why is it... Why does it keep getting faster? Stop it! Shit. Come to me. What was that? Hey, what are you doing? Trying to sip up here. What is this? That's so cute. Come back. No, you're another difficult fish. God damn it. Ah, fuck. Crappie? Turn dog, path dog, split dog, jumbo crappie, crappie carving, not craving. Look at them! Look how they— oh, we got those silly ones that I couldn't catch. Nice. There. Some say the carvings were made by a bunch of bored kiddos whittled from the driftwood near the shore. Try not to suck up too many of these jumbo crappies. They help keep the bugs away while you're fishing. Oh, crappie, huh? You're becoming a real stiff fisher now, kiddo. Kiddo. Whatever. I have so much money. I hate why I make that kind of noise. What the fuck? 9,999? The fuck? What are those prices, man? Well, I just bought hinges for your thing? Why? Why am I investing in you? Oh no! Oh no! And we didn't even fish everything out of this water! I thought it was a fish being stuck on sand. What was the price for the upgrade? Wait, what? Wait, what? Sipping out of this thing is equal to sipping out of this? That doesn't make sense. Oh wait, no, it's not. What the fuck? Oh wait, I'm stupid. I got this lowered. Never mind. Don't think. Don't think? Don't think. I don't think. Quickly. I need more fish. To fill my fish collection. Ooh, you. Not this time. This time you're being my lungs. That's so wrong. Why did I say that? God damn it. I don't have enough. Ah. I fell! There. Length of my straw. What the fuck? Also... 2. Yes, we get some down. We get some down, that doesn't make any sense. I gotta finish sipping from here. There we go. So now I can undo one thing and type up. There we go. You gotta use your brain. No. Guys, you gotta use the brain while you have it. Might disappear. And you never know when it'll happen. Purple! I got you. Yes! What is this, flounder? Look. No, I fucked it up. Come back! I was too impatient. This one is smaller. I think they're too difficult for me. God damn it. They do that on purpose. They show you a cool new fish and you're like, fuck. My sip is not strong enough yet. If only I could sip more. Me and my cool, colorful fish. Ba-da-bum. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. Oh, I was like crooked. Didn't realize. Purple guppies aren't the rarest fish, but I think they're the most beautiful. If you see one minnow, you'll probably see a bunch. The little scallywags like to stick together. Minnow is 55, purple guppy 65. Crappie. A crappie! Can't get anything. Can't get anything meaningful. Should probably split it up. I don't know though. Like, do we go through this or through this? The fuck no. I surely don't. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about anything. No. Right turn. Down. I'm in the water! No. Wrong way. Sip, sip, my sip. God damn it. Go back here. I wasn't ready for you. I was taking a breath. Come to me, big guppy. The staggered sound, I'm just like, it makes me think like I'm slapping a fish or something. Flounder! You're too strong. Fine, I'm just gonna eat a shoe, that's fine. Not like I wanted to do anything else. Oh! Oh shoot! I guess we gotta undo this. Honestly, good game if you just don't want to think. Lungs, bucket, lungs, bucket, lungs. Oh god damn it. Let me out of here! What is this? Oh, it's you! What are you doing here, fishy? In this little... little lake? Little puddle? How does this place even function? Does everybody sip fish out of the water here? And how does it come back? Does it like refill when it rains? I'm just looking for reasons, you know? I sense a fish. Oh, it's you. I have stronger lungs now, but you seem to be like too strong for me anyway. Oh my god, what the fuck is happening over here? Come back. I can tip you instead. No! Don't run away! God damn it. There you go. Any more fish in this foamy looking bottle? You sipped up all of the water! Okay, good. I mean, not good. Flounder! Carving, flounder, turn dog, path dog, split dog. I need lower dog! None of this does anything for me. Sir, I have a flounder thing. There's a rumor that carvings are ancient. Makes no sense to me since the flounder are relatively new to the lake. Also, like, you know, they look like they were just like made yesterday or something. Most people think flounders are creepy. I don't hang around those folk. They're just flat fish. Like, I mean, okay, that doesn't make sense. A lot of fish are flat, but like, they're just sideways. Why are people like that? Don't be mean to the flounders. Ooh, they're expensive. Which means we get to increase the bucket. But what if instead we save up? No. No. Brain, don't do it. That's stupid. Look at me. Down dog 22. There we go. My collection of cards! You know, crappie, jumbo crappie. Another carving. Whee! This game awakened something within me. The... Fisher. I'm in the water! Come on, come over to me! There are different colored ones! Come back! I didn't know, I got distracted. Oh my goodness, I'm losing everything. Like a fool. That's the sound I make when a fish runs away. Why are the flounders so difficult to catch? Give me something else! Something that I can catch! It's fucking goopy, I don't want that! Where did the name Goopy come from? Goopy? Guppy? I don't know. In Polish, the name is Gupik. And, it's kind of funny because Goopy means stupid. So you kind of like melts together in your brain. It's like, oh, these fish are called stupid fish. God damn it. What's up with this? Why am I so bad? Because I love the fish so much. I just want us to be happy together. Stop running away! It can't be helped. I will eat you up. We're so close. Thank God, finally. I started sipping sand. Why is there another... What? There's a... What? I forgot. I got so like perplexed that I forgot the name of those towers. What happened? Luma, hello. Welcome. I'm just sipping fish here. Don't mind me. The sea lump. I forgot the name. Good day for fishing. Decibels, hi. Decibels, can you help me? What's the name of those? I forgot. My brain, like, stopped working. Because I got distracted and, like, very, very much surprised. Money. Now, what will we get for the money? Nothing, apparently. Cool. I don't have enough for anything. It's a little house over there. Hold on, I'm gonna go check it out. Ah. A lighthouse! What the fuck is wrong with me? That wasn't even that difficult. Either way, I like... Ah! Like, I saw that over there and I was like, why is there a lighthouse inside of... just in the water? Like, it was covered in water when I started. Also, are the lighthouses only near the sea? Why is it here? This is a lake. I'm confused. Hello. I've come. See. What the fuck is this? Wait, the one underwater? Might be a boy. Kitty! Why were you in the water? I thought that was a house. No, it's freaking Super Mario pipe or whatever. Ew. 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 Crappie carving, goopy carving, bound dog, split dog, bounce pad. Ooh. Look how much water I've sipped out of the lake already. All the sand was covered. Who is there? What's that? Where are you? Oh my god! It's a catfish! It was a catfish! I thought it was a person. Wow. Oh my god, another cat! Does this give him achievements? It doesn't. I hoped there would be an achievement for petting all the cats. I'm stuck in the trees. Why do I only have 2 fish? What was I doing? I don't know what I was doing. Can you put the jump pads anywhere? What is that? I have a feeling I'm very confused about the premise here, but I figure I should question. Ah, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you. Look. 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 You sip up the fish from the lake. You sip up the lake. The entire lake is your glass. That's a huge one. That's a huge fish. I want it. Fish extinction. Yeah! See, that's just Lara Croft and her, you know, her entire thing just kind of inspired me, you could say. Over here, what are you? What the heck? Come back! What's in the cave? What's in the cave? Ooh. Jumbo flounder, jumbo minnow, minnow carving, split dog, post pad. Ooh. Guys, we are rich. We are rich. Doggy! That's not the sound of a small doggy. I've been ripped off. I've been scammed! I thought it would be a cool dog. It's not even a real dog. Where are the cones? Where are the cones in the water? So why can't I just sit here and, you know, sip in the beach? Why do I need to build? No space? Oh. Let's see. I'm not sure if it will want me to go that way. really depends on the... Oh my god, a jumbo flounder. Shame I cannot catch it because my lungs are too weak for this. Ooh, come over here. Purple goopy, you're mine. No! 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 Fuck! I played it wrong. I'm so upset with myself. That's too many fish, we cannot drink that many. Fuck! I didn't want you! Fuck. Look how they're jumping in my bucket. My bucket! My fish bucket! Sir. My pop-up used to say that Jumbo Minnow rules the other as king. I could have Jumbo green goopy like this when I first started. Mine was a bit bigger though. Of course it was. Introduced flounders to the lake a few years back. Good to see a few Jumbos around. I think the carvings are made by one of the lake's common visitors. Real smart, small man in a little green hat. I drank a fish. Do you mean ate? I did a starter. Speed up. No, we need more. We need sipping. Sipping! Sipping! That was the suracore. It's going great. Also, I wanted the headpad finally. Just so you know. I remembered. Ah! No, stop touching me! Do you know that meme? Don't touch me, I am the night. Perfect life-changing. I will hydrate. We must do a split. Oh. Wait, you know what? That's fine because I'm gonna drink up some of this water. Big fish. And my lungs are so strong too. Oh god. I don't know, it feels wrong to say that. No, undo, undo, undo. There we go. Perfect. Not running away from me. Not running away! Come to me, you jumbo minnow. I think that's a jumbo minnow. Oh, that's not a jumbo minnow. I've been mistaken. God damn it. See, I made my car take a shower and today it rained mud. Oh no, what the fuck? How did that happen? That's terrible luck. I'm so sorry. Come to me, you big fish. Where are all the fish when I want them? As for how is this suracore, every game that has some weird ass fish. Well, every game that has fish and is not just basic fishing, that's suracore. This one is really fucked up fishing, so this one works. Bucket. Warframe? Warframe has fishing? I mean fish? What kind of fish do you have in Warframe? I need to know. To me. To Papa. Damn it. I did it wrong. I know, right? What the heck? Mod? Sicily is wonderful or something? Oh my goodness. Ooh, purple. Did I see something purple over there? Am I crazy? Come to me. Can I actually catch a flounder this time? I think my lungs might have been improved enough for me to do this. No, I don't want to shoot! God damn it! Fuck! It has spearfishing, another fishing minigame that is more how to explain when you control a strange worm and eat fish. There are 4 locations with implemented fishing, each with biomes, special fishing rules. You can mount fish, caught fish as trophies, or keep them in aquariums and use a... You can mount... Oh, I see. I mean, I don't really like fishing all that much. I mean, I like this game because the whole gimmick is weird. Jumbo boot is just my size. Look, always good to have a spare. No! Sir! Don't use wet shoes. Ooh. My shoe is wet. It's a pond where you can observe giant fish, but interacting with them is pretty sparse unless you count the surprise sharks. Ooh. Ooh, sure. Oh, oh my god, there's a little cave with water. I want to get there. Undo. No. God damn it, why do I keep pressing this button? I might have fucked this up. This guy has powerful lungs, but I'm also impressed by the cheek space to hold fish in mouth. Of course. Of course you'd be surprised. Surprised? Shit, I did it wrong. I did it wrong! I'm just gonna go sleep. Then unless you're streaming. Good night, yo. Have fun with drinking the ocean. Thank you! Have a good sleep! Sip, sip. I don't want the yellow goopies. But they keep coming anyway. They don't care about my, you know, wishes. Does that mean that fish are selfish? Damn. Fish. Fish. Stupid. This hurts. This hurts. Hurts. There we go. Straight. Now, down. More down. Lit. I don't know why I split actually, but that's fine, whatever. I can just, you know, connect it to the other side. Maybe. I don't know why I would do that. But when was the last time I made sense? Purple! No! No! Are you? Oh god, that one is crazy. Don't think I'll be able to catch that one. Wait a second, I'm full. Fuck. You might be thinking of clams. Why are we talking about clams? I don't know what I was thinking about. I don't think about anything. I don't think. That's just proof. 10? Fuck it, give me 10. Ooh, so many down dogs. Cool, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate the business with you. at them just sitting here waiting for me. Yeah, I'm waiting for you, fishy. That was pathetic. Truly. Just the worst. That one's big. Come to me, I don't know what you are. God damn it, I did it again. I lost him! Damn it. No. Right. Now down. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. I shouldn't have done that. That was kinda stupid. What a waste. Come to me. You too. Come to me. And you. What the fuck? The one just stopped moving and then suddenly disappeared. I've been scammed. Red one. No! Red one, come back! My lungs, they're not too good enough. They're not too good enough? The fuck am I saying? I cannot upgrade myself yet. Fuck. Is this even on the same level? It is, but do I connect it? Might as well, I guess. No, undo! I did a fucky wucky and I used up all of my parts. Oh god. Flounder. My only hope. And I didn't even sip you correctly. Ooh, flounders! Ooh, a third one is coming. Come to me. to me. God damn it. The one is just stuck! What the heck? I've been scammed! For 2 flounders! I do lower. Okay. Why is that fish confused? Oh no. What the fuck? ASMR. You're just here sipping. You're sitting in a cafe, and next to you is some kid with like a soda, and he just keeps sipping through his sippy straw. You know what? I'm getting sleepy. That's so weird. This game is like relax extreme. You are full of water. Got all of this money for the flounders, and I'm still not. Ah! I still won't have enough. Not enough. Wait, is this connected to the sea? That can be. There we go. To be. But like, those certainly look like there's less water in here now. Oh. I did a fucky-wacky. I didn't know. No, but no, hold on. This doesn't look like it's in the same level. But that's so weird still. I need to go upgrade my sip and get more booster packs. So I can fix this weird Zones? Just number of sipping zones. Oh. Okay, maybe. What do you mean? What the fuck is that price? Mom, I'm stuck in a hole. I just want to connect this. Well, actually, I could have done that before. Because I need to kind of do this anyway. Why the fuck are these over here? I don't think that was supposed to happen. No. Uh-oh. Oh, I've really done goofed up. Because there's a thing over there. And there's no way for me to... Oh my god, what the fuck is this? Fuck it. Bounce pad. You cannot stop me. Fucking broken game. Disgusting! I'm in the water! Yo. Now we can sit. And we can sip a lot. It sounds so weird. But I'm gonna ignore that. For now. To me, you big fishy. Oh no, not even big. It just looks like that because I'm in the water. So the perspective is off. Oh, fishy. Oh, flounder. Shit. Shit. No! God damn it. I mean, that's my own fault, but still. It hurts. Oh, you can do it differently! I see. Guys, I'm stupid. I didn't realize you could do it this way. A new fishing experience! Come over. Yes, there was a different fish over there. I think it's gone. Oh. It feels like I'm slapping them. Sure, why not? Something red. Never mind. Just to chill all the time with my fish. Or you ask, yes, I am kind of like losing my mind here. Also, I still haven't found your friend. I don't know what your friend looks like. You didn't tell me. Then what a waste of space this thing. Wait, it does lower the freaking ocean level too. Ocean. It's not ocean. That's just... But you know what? That means that I don't need to fix this. So maybe that's for the better. You're not gonna escape this time. No, the moves now. To me. Gosh! You! The red one! No! Okay, I thought for a moment that it got stuck again or something. Purple. One more fish. There we go. Come over. Come over. Let's see. Did it get rid of this little puddle? Oh, it didn't. It stopped removing what? Why are the two levels of water here? How can that be water and water in here? What is this? And keep getting stuck on the sand. These minnows only come out during sunset. Good thing the sun's been setting for a good while now. You mean like forever? Wow, they're expensive. Eat up. I mean, that's just for me though, right? But might as well get it. Press spin while sipping to speed up your bar. Can speed up the bar. Okay, never mind. That's good. I misunderstood. I'm just gonna get some of these. You know. Just in case I need them or something. I don't know. Why do I keep getting stuck in like the weirdest places? Oh, you can pick it up! That's neat. That's one way of it, like getting fucking stuck. Oh my goodness. I got stuck! Oh god. Oh my god, I really got stuck. Yeah, I don't have fish. Oh, Jesus Christ. I guess I might try to just remove that. If it's gonna get me stuck every time. I mean, I don't need it. But that's like waste. Eh, wherever. I'm stupid. Oh well. Sometimes you gotta accept that your brain kinda, you know, dropped the ball. And by that I mean, now I have to waste stuff to get over here. Ow. Terrible engineering! Oh, that's neat. I'm gonna catch you think. There we go. I was about to say I forgot how to breathe. Which is not truly what happened, but honestly, kinda close. There we go. Okay, I learned how to I learned how to fish. It only took me an hour and 40 minutes. Sippy sip. Whoa. Whee. Oh, I got money! Turn duck, padlock, split duck, guppy carving. Whee. And I wanted to get to the cave and drink up the rest of the water then, but I figured, you know what? I'm not gonna get much more with this kind of bucket. I suppose I could now upgrade the bucket. Because I kind of learned how to deal with these fish. Did you know trout never really change color? Never seen a trout in the lake do it, but I heard it happens. I took my wife sip fishing course once. What the fuck, I can't read. I have sip fishing once. Caught a jumbo purple guppy about this big. Wow. Oh, yo. You can have a big sunset minnow. I mean jumbo sunset minnow, I guess. I can't read. And bucket. What's that? Bucket. No. I'm just gonna get this. I didn't use it yet. Oh god, why? Hello, fishies. Oh my god, it's timed? What the fuck? Why would you time it? It's kinda rude. So this is not even a rare fish. It's not what I signed up for. I wanted a rare fish. Not normal fish, but bigger. Come to me, red one. I saw you. Stop hiding. There you go. Are you big? Are big. There we go. Oh, I'm satisfied. With the hatch. You're big. No! You can't escape. How did I do that? I mean, I kind of just skipped one turn like an idiot. Oh, there we go. Okay, never mind. All of that doesn't matter. This is a very weird cave. Why is it like a tunnel? Want a throwback? Sure! Fish! Sir! The jumbo sunset minnows are real mean. One hit my knee so hard I almost retired on the spot. I know this reference. Did it not send my second message? No, it only said want a throwback and nothing else. Fish like the jumbo trout used to hunt other fish until I asked them to stop. Some of them didn't listen though. What do you mean? This man can communicate with fish. Whoop. Oh god, no, not the whoop whoop. Oh my goodness. Whoop, whoop. I don't know why I stopped running. There's no stamina here. Ripping those blunders. I think the chat was like trying to save me. Save my sanity. With the whoop whoop. But like, I guess it didn't work. Where are you, fish? Well, I just want to finish this tunnel. That's all I want. There's so much to ask. Jesus Christ, does it ever end? Does it ever end? I wonder if it makes sense to like, get rid of some of this and rebuild it later. Probably not. Just a waste, but the bucket actually has enough space for 130 fish. I also think so, man. Good sir. So, wait. How much do I need for a bucket upgrade? Oh, a lot. Shit. Okay, fine. Let's upgrade my fishing power. Whee! Slapping sounds. Oh, that fish. Ooh, big flounder. The genie, hello. I'm okay. Kinda sleepy. Didn't get like I couldn't fall asleep yesterday, so I kind of just been tired the whole day. But it's okay. How are you? Are you resting? Ooh, big fish. Ooh. I'm just playing silly games to like reset my brain. It's okay, sometimes too tired days mean we get a good sleep on the idols. Exactly! Exactly, yeah. You're correct. So I was like, you know what, okay, I did what I could. I'm just gonna take it easy. I didn't do everything I have planned for today. I was planning to do some more like art related stuff. But you know, and the most annoying part is that so I'm doing this art course, and you know, it has like videos about different things. It's like an all-encapsulating thing about, you know, color theory and like gesture drawing and like faces and hair and all of that random and all of like other things. And I figured, you know what, I'm gonna try and challenge myself to get through this in October, because it's not really that long. It's like, I think it's like 40 hours. But you know, if you are trying to be a bit perfectionist about it, like me, what I do is I just, oh my god, there's another hey over there. I follow along to what the tutor does, and I, you know, just basically do whatever he does. Just so it's a lot of work, and you know, a video that's like half an hour long can take you, you know, up to 2 hours if you just, you know, keep pausing and like repeating, if you like follow, or like maybe like repeat what they do and like all of the lines and such. So either way, what I'm trying to say is that today I started a new chapter. I managed to finish another one yesterday. I was really happy about that. So I started a new chapter. And the first video of the chapter was just basic theory, you know, just basics. So I was just, so you know, I got through that fast because, as I said, it was just like a little demo. There was only like a little bit of drawing along. Mostly we just, you know, I was just watching it. And then I was like, okay, great. So if I managed to get through this video very quickly, that means that maybe I could, you know, make some better progress today. And maybe I will I'll be able to get it through it fast enough that I'll finish it before the end of the month, you know. I'll just, or at least I won't have to worry about maybe not doing it in time. However, the moment I got through the first video, my mother came home and she was like, "Can you come and help me with the shopping? Like, you know, can you like get the shopping bags out of the car, and then can you like take stuff around the house?" And I'm like, okay, fine, sure, shouldn't take too long. But then after I done this, my sister was like, "Hey, we should probably make some food because there's not gonna be dinner." And I'm like, okay, fine. So you know, I made myself food and we ate the food. And then after I was done, I was just so tired, like I became so sleepy that I realized that I don't have any more energy to continue. And the next video is quite intense because it's basically like just proportions of like the face whenever you draw. And I figured, you know what, this is important enough that I kind of need to be able to focus on this. And I figured, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it today. So I was ready, you know, I was ready to make such good progress today, and then I ended up just like all of it backfired, like, god damn it. How did this happen? Why is it always like this? I'm good, I meant to do art today, but my sister distracted me with totally humane iron farm in Minecraft, and then I went shopping. Bobby and I ate out, and now I'm home. I did also clean a bit and take the trash out, so I don't want to tell myself I didn't do anything today. Yeah, that's pretty good. Also, it's Friday. It's Friday. Take it easy. finally sitting down to do some work. What kind of work are you doing? Also, going through course tutorials are a good way to learn stuff. Did you watch anything for Live 2D2? I did. I watched like a very short one on YouTube. I can send them to the ones I've watched to you if you want. They're just very quick, like 10-minute long videos. I have a whole course on that too, but that one is like so many hours. I'm not sure when I'll be able to even do that. I don't have the kind of brain power right now to go through more than one thing at once. Besides, you know, it's enough to just get the basics through like very short things.
I need to zip those faces out.
Sipping Drachna housework as someone else face sucks. Move. I can say it so much better. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my biggest dream right now is to be able to make enough to move out, honestly. That's all I want. Because it will allow me so much more. But like it's a big step that I don't know. It's like, how do I explain it? How I see it is like you have stairs, right? And you know that after you know you make the first step, then there's still a lot more steps in front of you. However, they're like very, you know, shallow steps, and you know that you'll be able to achieve them with that first thing. However, that first step is like so tall that it's just almost, it feels like it's impossible to get through. And it just makes everything else so much more difficult. Oh my god, this does connect to the outside. I was doing this like a stupid... Oh my god. Let me see. I thought this wasn't connected. Eh. Man. Now my entire thing... Ah! My entire thing is not even close to water anymore. God. Ooh. New chest. Jumbo, red goopy, bounce pad, boost pad. Whee! I drank so much water. No, maybe it's good that I went that way, because that means I can get to this cave already, and I don't have to like start over or something. I don't know. I don't know. That's an idea. I have 19 fish in my bucket, even though it shouldn't be able to hold that many. Even though it doesn't look like it shouldn't be able to hold that many.
Wee. What?
I probably like cheesed through it. I wasn't supposed to get here. Oh, hello. 30,000? What? Hey, that's cheating. I don't think I should be allowed to get this yet. Also, there's another thing. Bouncing pad. Ah! That wasn't what I wanted to do. Ah, shit. One more time. Oh, pfft. Whee! Hydrate or diamond. Oh goodness. But you know, I think, to be honest, the stream has kind of revitalized me. So maybe I'll do a bit more work after I'm done. Because, I don't know, maybe it was just food coma. I have so much money, guys. I have 50,000. I think I cheated a little bit here with the chests. Me and my wooden fish in my pocket.
Ow.
Hello. Hello. Oh, wait. It's not... You have to do an application. Yeah, I did it because I will explain to you why. I had the the normal private Discord setting before, where you can only join in if you have an invite. However, I wanted to have the server tag working, and if you have a server tag, it won't show you what server the tag is from if your server is private. So I kind of had to change it into into a public thing. So the only thing I could do to stop like randoms or bots from joining is to make the application process. And if you know what, that's not actually that bad. That's not too bad. So it works. Ooh, you're... Oh my god, another money! Another money? I don't need this after all. Damn it. The one thing about the application is that sometimes I don't see them, but they do kind of show up on the top of the server, as it kind of looks like a ping basically. So like it's just my fault for not being attentive enough. Whee! Oh shit. Can I actually get on top of this? There's a fish on top of this! I don't have a server tag. On Discord I fish that, and I have quesos. I have it because I really want it. No, I'm joking, but like a friend just boosted the server and I was like, oh, what? Why would you do that? And then I realized, oh my god, does that mean we can have a tag? And you only like 3 boosts to put a tag, so if you didn't know what, that's perfect. Please let me have this. No! I think I still have Stop Killing Games on my on their account. So you have co-working channel? Do you hang there? That was the plan. I forgot I had. I have one too, but then people come and distract me. Oh no! You know what? That's kinda what happened to me too. I was like, you know what? I need to be able to have some kind of you know, company when I feel like I need to talk while I'm working. So I made a channel. I used it like 3 times, I think, and then I kind of lost interest. Yeah, it doesn't really. It's a good idea, but it doesn't always work.
Ah, let me get on top of this fucking rock.
I think it's hard if people won't talk to you. It's more of a company thing. I think Bongo Cat does well. Yeah, Bongo Cat is a pretty good solution. Ah! It's like, you know, the person's there. You can see. Oh, okay. Sounds good. I'll be wrapping up this soon. Just... Oh, there's a fish, but yeah, I don't think I can get there. Oh well. Kitty! Let's go sell my fish. And I was only planning for this to last 2 hours, so it's perfect. I saw this game on like, well, I got a notification that it's on sale. I had a friend recommend it to me like, some time ago, and I forgot about it. And I saw the ping about the sale, and I was like, oh, this is what I need right now. But Goofies are the oldest around. This whippersnapper's been alive for at least 500 years. What the fuck are you saying? Wait, this is a red one. I thought it was normal. It's fish like this that remind me why we started sip fishing. No way you could catch one of just with a normal rod.
What?
Oh, that is different. Oh. I have too much money. Increase stagger damage, increase the length, speed up. I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this. I don't know why I would get a door hinge. I kinda want to get it just because. I'll show you something, I'll show you something. Look, there's a dog in here. There's a bunch of like cats and dogs around. I don't know why. But I appreciate it. That's a nice detail. Nice touch. Yeah. Also! Look! It's catfish with shoes! And I cannot get to them! Probably deaf pets. I was thinking that too, yeah. Oh, catfish! I wonder when I'll be able to catch them. I haven't seen them yet. Oh my god. There's 2 more. There's one on top of that lighthouse that I've been at before. But also...
Let me get up!
Why does the sound hate me? God damn it. Game, listen, I want to show a catfish. This is very important. This is the only thing I want right now, please. No, I fell down again. Okay, fine. Have it your way. Is it here? I think it was here. Yeah, there it is, there it is. Look at them! Look at them, there's a big one with a small one on top of its head! This is the only thing I dream about. Cool fish with I was about to say with feet. With shoes. I wonder how many I'll find. My goodness. At any rate. Now. That will be it for me for today. But I think that's a fun game when you just want to rest up a little bit, you know, just chill. Not really much to do. You just sip fish. It's a wonderful PNG of a cat. It is. There was one more somewhere here. Where is it? Oh, that's a doggy. I didn't see this one yet. There was another cat somewhere here. And I know there's another dog down there. I don't know what happened to the first cat. Hiding. Hiding away from me. Maybe it's shy. But I don't know, I take it by the forest. I like these kind of silly jokes. 10 out of 10. All of this wood, it makes me want to gather it up and like build a house or something. It just seems like a prime crafting spot. Don't know. Also, this game doesn't have oh my god, it has mind thing. Doesn't have achievements. It's kind of a shame. Give me an achievement for fighting all of the cats. That's all I want right now. Let's see. Let's rate somebody because I didn't rate anyone yesterday, so I gotta make up for it. I gotta make up for it. Stop with the freaking Duolingo! Get the fuck out of here! Is Snooze still alive? Why am I to the side? Snooze is still alive. I don't know how much longer he'll be alive, but yeah, let's rate Snooze. He's playing Little Nightmares. I want to play our game eventually too. Yeah. Fish. Fish. Perfect message after this game, honestly. Yeah. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'll be playing Resident Evil 5 with Eve. And yeah, that's it. Please have a safe weekend. Well, have a fun weekend, stay safe, and good night. Yeah. See you raid. Whee! Bye bye.